Hello everybody, Iain Robson here. Welcome to the edition of Agrofrost. Alright, we got something going on today. If you recall from the previous episode, we were just about to fertilize a couple of our fields because we've planted a few of them and now they need to be fertilized, so we're going to go ahead and do that today. We also need to seed a couple more fields, but I don't know if we'll get to that today or not. We shall see. We'll see how it gets. We'll see how it goes. But for now, we'll just go ahead and fertilize a couple of our fields. I think we have this field right in front of us that needs to be fertilized. Let's go ahead and bring up the GPS. And like so. And let's put it in an appropriate... I don't know why... I'm not sure why this happened like this. It's kind of strange, actually. That's good enough. I'm not sure why this happened like this. Normally it's not a problem when... I guess I can put my foot down. Normally it's not a problem when... Did I already fertilize this? Yeah, it looks like it's already fertilized. Maybe I did. Alright, never mind then. Huh. So it must be the other field that I haven't fertilized then. Strange. Come on, break away from the GPS. Jeez. It really doesn't like doing that. I don't know why. It's one of those situations where you really have to turn the wheel, like, you know, 3/4 it feels like before it breaks away from the GPS, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I'm just not used to it. When you use the keyboard and mouse, you just hit it once and it's good to go. This one we haven't fertilized. Whoops. Okay, let's back up here a little bit, and we'll go with this one. Sure. No, maybe we won't go this direction. We'll go the other direction. Might be just a wee bit more efficient. What the heck did I just hit? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's really funny. It's like I find, like, I don't know why, but I'm like less aware of what's going on when I'm out, not inside the cab now. I don't know why that's the case, but it just seems that way. Sorry, man. I have to go right there. It just seems that way for whatever reason. Let's do this. Yeah, there we go. It just seems that way. Helps if I turn on the fertilizer. There we go. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's just really strange. It's just one of those scenarios where you just I don't know why, but I guess because the turning is a little bit slower when you are when you're using a steering wheel, because you have to like turn your steering wheel quite a lot. I could get like a, whatever they call those things, a spinner, I think it's called. But I don't know. I don't know if it would work for all the games I like to play. So for the time being, I'll stick without it. But it's definitely an option. Definitely an option. I know Jammin's got one of those, or Jammin000. Jamie is his name. He's a Newfoundlander. You don't know where Newfoundland is? I guess you're not Canadian. You know, you might know where Newfoundland is, actually. They're the ones talk really funny, basically. If ever you hear somebody imitating a Canadian, they often are imitating a Newfoundlander because they have a really, really distinct accent in comparison to other places. Like in Ontario here, the accents are nowhere near as prominent as they are where if you're from Newfoundland. It's pretty funny, actually. It depends where you are. If you're from the coast, you can really hear it. There's a few words you can really hear some people's accents, but I don't know. I was actually told I had an accent the other day. It was really strange, actually. It was where was that? I was at work, and someone's like, "Oh, are you Canadian?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, you have a very nice accent." I'm like, "I do." But the person, she was also Canadian, which really threw me off. It's one of the other teachers at the school I work for. And she was like, "You have a really nice accent." I'm like, "Are you Canadian?" I was like, "Yeah." Really odd. That's the first time I've had that happen where someone thought I wasn't Canadian because I have a different accent. I don't know why, but I guess I do. I don't know. My parents are both lived in England for a long time, so maybe that's the reason why. I don't know, but it was really odd. Normally, it's like I'll get the other way around. Like when I meet people from Quebec, Quebec City specifically, that's when. That's where I really can tell They have a really big accent. It's really funny, actually. From Quebec City or Lac Saint Jean, those are the two places where I tend to hear the most. They have the biggest accent, I would say. So it's really funny when I meet people from there, and I was like, people who have the most pronunciation difficulties are generally from those two areas, depending on what their job is a lot of the time too. But in general, that's where I get the most, the heaviest accents. So it is kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie to you here. Now we've seeded these two fields. We haven't seeded 11 or 12 yet. And this is way faster than seeding, obviously. I really should get the Ursus out there doing something. Yeah, let's back away from those. Or there we go. Yeah, I should get the Ursus out there seeding. That's still a rocky, and I think the other strange thing about it is because I don't do this as much when I'm using a steering wheel. It's because I'm not that proficient with the steering wheel, I guess, yet. And I think that's the reason why I don't do it much yet. Like, when you're in the GPS mode, it's fine, because you just, you look about, you're fine, you're good to go. But when you're not in the GPS mode, you're just like, alright, I have to pay attention. Because, like I said before, like, you have, like, you spend 2, 3, 4, however many years playing with a keyboard and mouse, and then you have this whole new interface, so to speak. Let's get the last little bit. That's a waste, but whatever. You have this whole new peripheral, you could even call it if you like, but yeah, it's fun. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of fun. I really like I really like Euro Truck with the steering wheel. It's a lot. Like, last night I was playing a little bit of Euro Truck, had a little bit of cruising music. I had like there was a little bit of driving music, some old classic rock in there. It was fantastic. I think I did a couple jobs. I didn't even realize. I was like, oh, this is only 1,100 kilometers. Next thing you know, like, oh, I'm here? Okay, that's fine. 1,100 kilometers in Euro Truck's, I don't know, like not a super long job, but, medium maybe. If you have the Russian map mod installed, that's where it's really, that's where you get the really long jobs going in and out of Russia. Where it's like, you're going from St. Petersburg to London, which is like 3,000 kilometers, so... Alright, that's that. That took a lot less time than seeding will. Alright, let's just pop over here. And which way is going to be the best way to do this? Probably is no best way to do this, is there? Let's do it this way, I think. Oh, I can do it diagonally? How about we adjust that just slightly? Rotate, offset. Rotate, turn left. No, where is it? Is this it? Offset to the right? No. I want, not shift, rotate. There we go. There we go. That'll make it way more efficient. Perfect. Let's turn that bad boy on. Might as well fertilize this field while we're at it. Nice. Gonna miss the edge there, but there's no easy way to get around that. That's the, like, I love this fact that you can do it with the GPS mod. Like, just adjust the course just slightly so it's a little bit more along the lines of what you want it to be. It just makes so much sense. I'm gonna have to do a little turn here. Go ahead, break away from the GPS. Here we go. It takes a lot. It takes like quite a bit of a turn on the steering wheel. I don't know. It's really first time I messed around with the GPS mod with the steering wheel, I was like that is really strange because you really have to crank that wheel. Well. I keep forgetting my phone every single time. I'm like, oh, I should read some of the comments for the previous episode. And then I'm like, my phone's in the other room. I keep forgetting it for whatever reason. I think it's because my office is in disarray at the moment. Everything's all over the place because the new computer has not been 100% set up yet, which is one of the reasons why I'm still playing on the old computer. Although I'm very thankful for having that possibility of being able to do that. So not everybody has two computers that can run the game. So. Although, admittedly, I did buy this computer 5 years ago now, so that's that. Might as well just continue on my way here then. Jeez, not my intention, but that works too. Get a turn out there. There we go. Nice. It's funny. It's like I find with the steering wheel, or at least this is my feeling. Oh, this was inefficient this way. I find that I kind of just want to. I'm just gonna drive through the tree. You didn't see this. I find that I just kind of want to just relax and play often with the steering wheel. I don't know why. It just seems really strange because it's like one of those situations where you're like, it's because I guess it's because it's more natural. Perhaps is the reason why it feels that way now. So because it's oops, back up. I guess it's because it's more natural and it's just like, you know what, this is pretty relaxing now. Like even more so than it was before. Because like I would probably, if I were playing by myself without recording, I'd probably just be chilling out like in here in the cab. I want to rotate that course. Rotate. And let's go forward a little bit. There we go. Let's rotate it just a bit. Perfect. Yeah, so it's just one of those scenarios where it's just like, cause it's very relaxing with the steering wheel. I've discovered, like, because it's like driving a car or, you know, driving a tractor, if you have had experience doing either. Driving a gator, which is a lot of fun as well. If you haven't tried that, I suggest trying that. But just, it just feels a lot more relaxing. So if you thought the game was relaxing before, like it's, you know, more so now basically. Which is fantastic because I love this game. And I'm sure most of you would agree that it's a fantastic game. And if you can make it more relaxing, by all means. There we go. Now we're going to have enough to finish this field. We're going to find out in a second, that's for sure. So, yeah, like I said, I think in a previous episode, I can't remember, we will start a new map. Hopefully I'll get the episodes recorded this weekend. So this weekend being January 16th, 17th. So this might go up before or after that. I don't even know. By the time this goes live, I should have recorded the episodes. Let's just say that. If all goes well. I'm still waiting on a part for my computer, and that's just the reason why I haven't fully set it up yet. And I'll tell you that story when I record the very first episode of my new computer, probably, because it'll be it was an interesting experience. Let's just say that. It's not the first time I built my computer, and I don't think it'll be my last. Oh, you're gonna just run out on the last little strip, aren't you? Figures. All right. Where can we buy? Can we buy fertilizer from over here? That'd be nice. We do need to get a corn header for that field too. That's not ready yet though. Maybe we'll buy a corn header this episode. I think we have the money for it. I think it was 31,000 for that Kong Speed, I think it's called. Now where is, can we buy fertilizer from around here? I think there is a, right by our apple place, I think there's a, you can buy fertilizer from there too. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Accidentally / on purpose. Whoops. Alright, I guess we'll go back to the farm then. It's funny, the very first time I messed around this game and I showed my girlfriend that you could drive through people, she's like, you can drive through people? I'm like, yeah. She's like, that's not realistic. I was like, I didn't make the game. But why would you make people that you can, you know, why would you have people walking around randomly in the game? Could you imagine trying to avoid people in this game? Like, because they just keep walking like right in front of you. There's no like consideration, let's say. So because there's no consideration, it makes trying to avoid them difficult at times. Now I'm sure some people do play that way and they go, you know what, I'm gonna try and avoid and play as realistically as possible, 100%, and that's fine, that's cool. It's all the more power to them. If you have a lot of time and it's not a big deal, by all means. I don't have, well, let's say this. When I record my videos, it's right in the morning, so it's before work, and if I want to play as realistically as possible, I don't have as much time as I would like all the time. Let's get back there. Yes, I don't always have as much time as I would like, so because of that, I always have to, not always, but I often have to play slightly unrealistically, like, you know, beelining it across the field. I don't do it often. I try not to do it too often because I like to play somewhat realistically, as I've mentioned before, so. One sec, coffee break. Just finishing up the last of my morning coffee. Happy to say my Farmer's Forum for January came in today, which is fantastic. I love reading that newspaper. No! Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm really not used to it because it kicks, like, if you play with the keyboard, it kicks back into the middle. With this, it doesn't. I think you can set it up so it does a little bit, but I have not done that yet, so I'm still getting used to it. I'm a terrible driver, yeah. You can just admit, I can just admit that. But I will have to, I think I might have to pick up the better steering mod again. I think that's what it was called. Basically what the mod did was, when you turn the steering wheel one way or another, it would like turn the camera that way as well. And then when you backed up, it would go to the rear view, which would be kind of nice. So I think I might give that another go. Because with the steering wheel, it would definitely make some things a bit smoother. Where are we? Let's go straight. Sorry, dude. It would make some things a bit smoother, so I think I might have to give that another go. We'll see how it works out. I think that's what Hitman uses. I think I'll have to ask him about that. I haven't been on TeamSpeak for the last little while because I'm so used to having everything set up like, you know, just the way I'm used to it. And so what's happened was I haven't been on TeamSpeak very much lately because I have the capability, but I just one of those scenarios where it's like I'm used to having two screens and first world problems, I guess. But I'll have to hop on this weekend and talk with the guys a little bit, see how things are going with them. I know Hitman also got his new computer not too long ago. I'm sure he has his set up and it's firing on all cylinders, so to speak. And Caravera actually got a new computer this year, I think, too. He did it a bit differently. He actually, I think he paid the company to do some benchmark testing, I think, on it, to make sure it was working well, which is pretty cool. So, but I did not go that route. I like building my own computer. I know Caravera did it too, but I don't think he had time this year, so that's the reason why he hired somebody to do it. But I like putting my own computers together because if I screw up, it's I don't know, how would I describe it? It's a challenge. Let's say that. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It's a challenge. I was reading an article the other day from a website called The Art of Manliness. Pretty awesome website. If you are interested in all things manly, definitely worth checking it out. It talks about lots of variety of topics. It's not like the series I'm really enjoying right now that they just finished up was called oh my goodness, it's about Winston Churchill. What's the name of it? It's about Winston Churchill and School of Adulthood, I think it's called, or something like that. It's basically like, you know, what does it take to be an adult in today's time, or what takeaways can you get from Winston Churchill's life for life today, basically. And there were quite a few takeaways, actually. And one of the things that they talked about in the last installment. Can I go straight here? Yeah, that's good enough. And the last installment was... Turn this bad boy on. The last installment was... challenge. And always challenge yourself. And that challenge can come... no, it wasn't challenge specifically. It was more like adventure. Give yourself some adventures. And that could be different forms of adventure depending on your level, like what you wanted, like what you consider an adventure or not. So for me, for example, an adventure for me might be putting together a new computer and making sure I didn't screw up anything, because there's a possibility of failure, and that was one of the criteria of an adventure. So what I did is I put together my new computer, and that's an adventure because you have the possibility to succeed and you have the possibility to fail as well. So the chance of failure is small, and I don't really want a big chance of failure in this scenario, but it just as an example. So that would be a chance of failure for me. You know, I may not have done something, I may not have chosen the right parts. It's not something I really want to have a lot of big chance of failure, but there still is that possibility. But if you succeed, you know, you have a really good feeling. Basically, you're like, yes, I did that. I chose those parts myself. I put it together myself. It's functioning at 100% efficiency. It's a good feeling. Let's say that. But they were, they talked about, that type of adventure, so to speak, or they also talked a little bit about challenge as well. Another thing they mentioned was learning from history and how learning history. They had some really good quotes from Winston Churchill. I can't think of any off the top of my head, mind you. I'd have to have the article in front of me. But they talked about history and how you can, by knowing what you did in the past, you can look forward, sort of idea. So one of the things that Winston Churchill used to do all the time was he always had his nose in a book, reading about history, and history intrigued him. And he read all sorts of history. Like he would constantly learn from people like Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar and stuff like that. So he was always learning about history, because the way one of the quotes was, Let me get straightened out here before I start talking, or else I'm going to lose my train of thought. There we go. One of the things he talked about was we're always, because we're constantly making history, so to speak, you can always learn from the history behind you, sort of thing. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're always looking behind you and thinking about the past. What actually, one of the interesting things about Winston Churchill was he would always, because he knew history so well, he was able to create some history, so to speak. So really interesting stuff. One of the things they talked about in the article I just read yesterday was how Winston Churchill would actually go out and seek adventure, so to speak, or seek dangerous situations. So, for example, he was one of the very first world leaders to take a transcontinental flight to see what was going on during the battle, not the Battle of Britain, but during World War II. So, pretty amazing stuff. He seems like he's like one of those people you really want. It really would have been really intriguing to meet because of the way he lived his life. They also talk on the website. They also talk about Teddy Roosevelt a lot. Another interesting character in American history, at least. But they talk about all sorts of random things. Like, I don't know. I like the really in-depth articles about historical figures like Teddy Roosevelt, for example, or Winston Churchill, and then what they talk about in regards to that and how it relates to current society. I don't know. I think those are interesting, at least. They do other sorts of articles. They also talk about what's not a good one? They talk about stuff like how to skin a rabbit, for example, how to wet shave, which is like using a safety edge razor, stuff like that. All sorts of random topics. This isn't. Looks like it's a little off there. Oh well. We'll find out in a second. But they'll talk about all sorts of topics. I really like the website. It's really cool. Definitely worth checking out. I don't know. I find it. They always have. They have a podcast as well, or a radio show, if you want to call it that. And they always have interesting guests on. There we go. What was the guest they had on the other day? They had a guest on the other day who talked about... I don't remember now. What was it? Whoa, 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 whoa. No! You're wasting all the fertilizer. What was the topic that he talked about the other day? It was not about happiness. It was about... shoot, I totally forget now. I listened to a couple radio shows the other day, and I guess that's why I forget. Oh, good. Thought we were going to miss that little bit there. He was a doctor. He was... What did he talk about? Oh, man. I remember he was a doctor. He talked about... Oh, that's right, about happiness. So he talked about happiness in the podcast, and they talked about how your brain's basically hardwired for negative things and to react to negative things very quickly, whereas it's not wired to think about positive things. And one of the things I talked about in one of the practical takeaways at the end of the day was live in the moment, I guess would be the way I would describe it, is when something good happens, enjoy the feeling, because it doesn't happen very often, and you're basically training your brain to think about positive things, or to enjoy those positive things more instead of dwelling on the negative things. So, I don't know, stuff like that. Not farming related at all, but really interesting nonetheless. Don't hit the tree! I'd be a terrible farmer. Jeez. So yeah, they talked about all sorts of things like that. Really, really interesting. It's definitely high level stuff. Like, it's not about video games or anything like that. I don't listen. I used to listen to a couple of video game podcasts, but not anymore. For whatever reason, I just one of the podcasts I used to listen to was just so long. I was interested in video games, and I listened to the podcast. Like it was like a 3-hour-long podcast, and often I would listen to the whole thing. But in the end, I wanted to learn, I guess, a bit more. That's how I describe it. So because I was curious about learning about different things, I would often, stop the podcast midway and be like, okay, I get the idea, I get where they're going with this, and then I'll go somewhere to learn about something else. So really good podcast though, don't get me wrong. I just it was a bit long-winded sometimes, but that's the way they did things. I think they do it once a week too. It was Giant Bomb. I don't know. They actually merged with, I think it was CBS, I think it was, a while back. So I don't know how their show is going. Move away from the tree, not towards it. So I don't know how their show is going nowadays in that scenario. So whoa. So we'll see. Maybe I'll go back and start listening to them again. But they had a great podcast, a lot of fun. Actually, let's not do that. A lot of fun to listen to. Always have funny stuff to talk about too. Tons and tons and tons of funny stories from those guys. Like I just often it was kind of like, really? I don't own this field? Aww. Wasting the fertilizer. There's no field. Oh, I feel 20, I see. That's why they're saying I don't own the field. And it's like, what? I totally own field 23. But they're like, no, you don't own field 20. And this grass field cannot be fertilized, so oh well. Alright, I have no idea how long this episode is. I'm going to check quickly. I feel like I've been rambling for a long time now. Whoops. There we go. See, I have to tab now. I used to be able just to look on the other screen, but yeah, like I said before, first world problems, I guess. And slow down a little bit here. But yeah, it's theartofmanliness.com. Definitely recommend checking it out. It's not going to be for all of you. I know that already. It's definitely not for, well, I suppose. I'll tell you what the demographic of the website's supposed to be. So it's like, the website is definitely geared towards men between the ages of like 20, I think it's 20 and 30. So if you don't fall into that demographic, it may not be for you. There's no place to buy fertilizer over here. Oh, that sucks. If it's not geared, it's not necessarily geared to all of you. I know that. So some of you will definitely find it interesting though. So like if you're perhaps a bit older, like between the ages of 20 and 30, which is what the website's geared towards. If you're between those ages, definitely even if you're not, like even if you're, if you're 12, 15, 13, definitely check the website out. It's really interesting. The guy who makes it, the guy who writes the blog posts is, he writes it with his wife, I think. But it's primarily the guy's name is Brett McKay. And a lot of what he talks about is kind of like, he has a lot of ideals from the 1950s and whatnot, but he's a modern man still. But some of the stuff he talks about, I can never get turns right. I'm gonna have to get used to that. Maybe I'll have to take it down from 900 degrees down to something else, because I feel like it just seems like a lot of turning and I don't get anywhere. Anyhow, the guy's name is Brett McKay, and he has lots of guest authors on. Like I know he's had, what's one of the recent ones he had? John Corrigan, I think his name was. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I think that was his name at least. Anyways, this guy, John, I'll call him. I'm pretty sure that's his name. He worked for the White House as a speech writer, essentially, like a second tier, third tier speech writer. And he worked with Bill Clinton before the political nightmare that he ran into. He wrote speeches for him, and he's in that particular podcast / episode, they actually talked about networking. So to give you an idea, why did I go this way? Jeez, this is a nice field. Let's go back in the road now. But yeah, they talk about all sorts of things. So definitely recommend checking it out. That was a long-winded recommendation, but if you're interested and you can't find the URL for whatever reason, just leave me a comment and I'll find it for you and put it out there. But it's just artofmanliness.com. So really cool site. Like I said before, it's not going to be for all of you, but has lots and lots of sort of things. Like, a lot of things I didn't learn about because I never grew up in a farm, like how to skin a rabbit. I had no idea how to do that. I checked out the article, I was kind of interested. I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. They definitely don't spare many details, let's say that. So if you're a bit, if you are a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? If you get upset by visually explicit images of skinning a rabbit, for example, then I wouldn't suggest checking out that particular article. But they do usually warn people, saying that this particular article has, you know, images that may disturb you. In this particular one, it was obviously, you know, skinning a rabbit, which is not everyone has seen that or wants to see that. So that's the reason why they had that little disclaimer at that particular one. But definitely a really cool site. I don't know. I read lots of random sites. Not actually, very few that were actually video game related. More so these days, it's about I don't know, like I'll rhyme off a couple. Like Art of Manliness is one I tend to read quite often. I listen to a radio show called The Beancast, which talks a lot about marketing and advertising and stuff like that. Bob Norp is the guy who runs that that radio show. Fantastic guy. He's on Twitter there too. I think it's just at Bob Norp. But if you're into marketing and advertising, definitely check it out. If you're not, don't check him out. But his show is really funny. He basically does like he brings a panel of let's say, how many people does he bring on? I think he brings on between 2 and 4 people. I think it's 2 and 4 people usually. And they'll debate topics that come out. So for example, Instagram. A lot of you use Instagram. I know TCGG Rob uses Instagram, and he's a big Instagram user. I don't use Instagram at all. I barely post any pictures or take any pictures, so it's not really that helpful for me specifically. But anyways, what Instagram did recently was they deleted, I guess, essentially, deleted a lot of the followers on Instagram that were fake, essentially. And a lot of big brands were upset about that, so... I'll stop talking about that because I'm pretty sure not all of you are interested in that, but some of the stuff that comes up in the news is just hilarious. One last little thing, and I think I'll have to close the episode out. Bob Norp also does this thing called the ad fail 5. So ad fail is like, you know, advertising fail essentially. And some of the stuff that gets approved is ridiculous. I don't know how they get approved, but they do. And he talks about them. Anyhow. What I'll do is, I think I'll just go straight here. Let's just go straight. Be a little adventurous here. I should really fire up Dirt 3. I think I still have Dirt 3 on Steam. I should fire that up and try that with the steering wheel and see what it's like. Although Farm Sim with a steering wheel and Euro Truck with a steering wheel, definitely awesome. Farm Sim with the G27, I don't think you really need something that crazy. Like the shifter is the buttons on the shifter are nice, but the shifter itself is pretty useless. I don't know if there's a way to, I haven't tried, mind you, but there might be a way to use it, but as far as I can tell at the moment, it's not very helpful. But the shifter with the G27 shifter in Euro Truck, definitely awesome. And if there are some racing games out there, you definitely utilize the shifter in there as well. And oh, we do have a little bit left. Yes, I'm glad I came back here then. Let's back up here a little bit. Might as well just finish off this field. I'm here anyways. We'll finish this up and then I shall have to depart for work. But it's Friday today. When I'm recording this, it's Friday. At least when it goes live, I doubt it'll be Friday. If it is, it'll be coincidental, but... Anyhow, yeah, that's like another website. Well, I should radio, so I don't go to the website very often. I listen to the radio show a lot. Definitely, if you're into marketing and advertising, check that one out. I know most of you aren't, so I'll leave that one alone. But if you're into farming, and I know a lot of you are farmers or into farming in some way, shape, or form, one of the couple websites I definitely recommend are farmmarketingsolutions.com. That's with John Siskovich. That's about marketing again, but not necessarily just marketing. It's more about like, it is about marketing, but it's more about marketing your farm sort of thing. And and talking about how you can utilize certain things. What do they talk about? So, for example, last podcast I listened to from John Soskovich. He was talking about what his plans are for 2015 with his farm. So he's actually a farm manager for Camp Roads Farm, I believe it's called. And he also has his own farm as well, which is, there's a great demand for barley. If only I had some barley, which I'm pretty sure I don't. I'm going to stay over here a little bit so I don't get the, you don't own this field. Yeah, he works for Camp's Road Farm, and he also has his own farm called... what's it called? Food Cyclist Farm. There we go. Food Cyclist Farm, I think it's called. Anyway, so he does that, and he, it's a lot about marketing and like how can you improve the efficiency of your farm and whatnot. Come on! I own the field. Like the boundaries must be like so close that. Come on. There we go. Really? I don't own this field. Why yada is the expression you often hear in cartoons. There we go. Yeah, Don Soskovich, Marketing Your Farm, and Farm Marketing Your Farm. Farm Marketing Solutions is his website, and he does some really cool stuff. All right, I'm gonna stop the episode there because I feel like I'm rambling a little bit now. And it's also time for me to get going. So, having said that, folks, my name is Iain Robson. This has been Farming Simulator 2015. Coming at you from Agrofrost. Catch you guys later.